Hi everybody, Matt Bernier here in the Daily Racing Forum studios, joined by DRF National Handicapper Mike Watchmaker. We're taking a look at this weekend's Weekend Warriors, Saturday, February the 11th. We've got one from Gulfstream, one from Tampa Bay, one from Oaklawn Park. Let's start down at Gulfstream Park. It's the 11th race, the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Handicap, a one-turn mile. You have a field of 9 in here, Mike, and it's an interesting sort of return spot for the 7, Sharp Azteca, possibly a stepping stone to bigger and better things.
Yeah, Matt, Sharp Azteca has run some absolutely monstrous races when you think about it. I mean, think back to his Pat Day mile on the Kentucky Derby undercard last spring. When he went out there and pressed a pace that was just ridiculously fast, and he should have been absolutely empty in the stretch, and instead he opened up a huge lead and won decisively, and he just crushed, I think it was 13 opponents that day, 13 opponents. It was an awesome performance on his part. But as good as that performance was, I thought his effort last time out in the Malibu was even better because he pressed the pace, a scorching early pace, and his shock, I thought, moved him too soon. I mean, if you watch the replay closely, you'll see that Sharp Azteca was sent to go after the pace setter in the second quarter mile. And the second quarter mile of the Malibu was run in 21.64 seconds. So Sharp Azteca moved in the second quarter of a 7-furlong race at 21.64. And yet he still opened up a clear lead in mid-stretch and was only nailed in the last few strides and only beaten a half a length by Mind Your Biscuits, who has emerged as one of the best sprinters in the country and who, in the Malibu, sat an absolutely perfect trip just off the speed duel. Now, in this Gulfstream Park Handicap, Sharp Azteca, he stretched it out to a mile, but the Pat Day was a one-turn mile. He's absolutely the controlling speed here. I mean, he's got a huge pace advantage this time around, and I just think this horse is way too good to squander the kind of pace advantage he has in this race, and I'm just looking for him to beat this field and beat him decisively.
And it sounds like if all goes well, the plan is eventually the Godolphin Mile on the Dubai World Cup undercard. You've got a number of other runners in here, particularly exiting the Grade 3 Hal's Hope. That's including the blowout winner, the one Tommy Macho. He didn't do things all that well as far as lead changes are concerned, but you've got a number of other runners in here, including the 5 Zulu making his first graded stakes start since the Grade 1 Bluegrass last year. Is there anybody else in this field that you want to try to hook up with Sharp Azteca?
Well, if Tommy Macho runs back to his household, I mean, he's going to be obviously a handful in this race. But, frankly, I don't know where that race came from because his previous 2 races, which were his first 2 starts back off an injury-related absence, were terrible. I mean, they were just awful. And then he gets down to Gulfstream, and he obviously likes Gulfstream, and he just blew that household field away by many lengths, and he got a 105 buyer figure, which was the best of his career. I just don't know where that race came from, but the pace setup, I think, is much more in favor of Sharp Azteca. As for the other Pletcher horse that you mentioned in here, Pletcher trains Tommy Macho. He also trains Zulu, and Zulu came back from a long layoff to win the Tamarack over the Gulfstream Park racetrack. I mean, this is a very lightly raced horse who won his first 2 starts impressively, finished second in the Fountain of Youth Stakes and only his 3rd career start. He's got every right to take a significant step forward, but I think it's going to take a buyer figure somewhere in the mid-100s, like around 105, 106 to win this race, and that means Zulu is going to have to really raise his game on that account. But he's lightly raced, and he might be able to. But if you're asking me if there's another horse in here that I'm a little bit interested in, and that would be Awesome Slew. Now, Awesome Slew was beaten at odds on in the Sunshine Millions Classic last time, but he was the perfect example of how bad outside post positions are going a mile and 8 at Gulfstream Park, because he was hung wide immediately on the first turn, and he was hung wide on the far turn, and the race just set up absolutely badly for him. I think the cut back to a 1-turn mile is very good for this horse, and he's got back races that are kind of interesting. So he would be the kind of horse that I try to squeeze in between Sharp Azteca and the 2 Pletcher horses.
Race 11, Gulfstream Park, Saturday afternoon, the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Handicap. It's a 1-turn mile, and Mike can go with the 7, Sharp Azteca for Jorge Navarro and Edgar Zayas. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to stay in Florida for the second race for this weekend's Weekend Warrior. We'll go to Tampa Bay Downs, and we'll take a look at the Grade 3 Tampa Bay.